Shockwaves across ARMY. Why did Jungkook and Taehyung fly thousands of miles to America for Jin's concert? The question is resounding across every corner of the global music scene. Why did two of K-pop's most elusive figures, Jungkook and Taehyung, quietly board a transcontinental flight to the United States, igniting speculation, emotional outpourings, and a digital frenzy among millions? Their unexpected arrival in America, timed precisely with Jin's long-anticipated solo concert, is sending shockwaves not just through ARMY, but also through the wider entertainment industry. Was this merely an act of solidarity, or does their journey conceal a deeper, more profound narrative that even the most ardent fans didn't see coming? For weeks, Jin's concert had already been shaping up as a monumental event, his first major solo stage since returning from mandatory service, an emotional milestone that had ARMY holding its collective breath. Yet no one could have predicted that two other BTS members, known for keeping low profiles during their personal schedules, would choose this exact moment to cross oceans. The sighting of Jungkook and Taehyung at Incheon Airport, clad in understated outfits and moving with uncharacteristic urgency, offered the first hint that something unprecedented was about to unfold. Fans barely had time to process grainy photos from the departure terminal before new images emerged. The duo landing on American soil, looking focused, almost tense, as they were ushered into waiting vehicles. The timing raises crucial questions. Why now? Why together? Neither Jungkook nor Taehyung had publicly announced plans to travel. Their management remained silent. Yet the emotional weight of their actions became apparent the moment they were spotted in the audience of Jin's concert. Cameras panned to reveal them seated discreetly among a sea of fans, eyes fixed on the stage, expressions that oscillated between pride and deep emotion. Was this simply about supporting a brother, or was there an unspoken urgency, a sense of obligation that drew them halfway across the world? Those who attended described a palpable shift in the atmosphere the instant Jin noticed them. Witnesses reported a brief pause during his performance, his voice catching as he locked eyes with his younger bandmates. You could see it, the shock, the gratitude, the raw emotion, said one attendee. It was as if the room itself went silent for a second. Even Jin looked like he couldn't believe they had come all this way for him. This moment, captured on countless phones, has already begun circulating with millions of shares, each clip accompanied by captions like, "True brotherhood," and "They didn't have to, but they did." But what compelled Jungkook and Taehyung to make this journey? Analysts point out that both had been juggling demanding solo schedules. Jungkook, whose recent projects have kept him largely confined to studios in Seoul and Los Angeles, had not been seen in public for weeks. Taehyung, meanwhile, had been in Paris just days earlier for a high-profile campaign shoot. For them to converge in America, at precisely the moment Jin needed them most, suggests deliberate planning, coordination, and, perhaps, an emotional imperative stronger than any professional commitment. Some insiders whisper that the two had been monitoring Jin's preparations for months, aware of the immense pressure he was under as the first BTS member to return to the stage post-enlistment. Jin has always been the one holding everyone else together. One source close to the group reportedly said, "It's not surprising they would want to be there for him when he finally steps back into the spotlight. But for them to actually drop everything and fly across the world, that says something deeper." In an industry where appearances are meticulously managed, this raw display of loyalty feels almost radical. Jungkook and Taehyung made no attempt to draw attention to themselves. There were no advance hints on social media, no orchestrated fanfare at the airport, no official statements. Their presence, understated yet monumental, allowed the spotlight to remain entirely on Jin, amplifying the emotional resonance of his performance. Observers are now dissecting every detail of the concert for clues. Was there a subtle exchange of words between Jin and his bandmates during the brief intermission? Did his tears during the encore reflect more than just the weight of the occasion? For ARMY, these questions are not trivial. They point to the unbreakable bonds that have defined BTS since their inception, a brotherhood that transcends fame, distance, and even military service. The aftermath of their gesture continues to ripple outward. Social media platforms have exploded with tributes and analysis, hashtags surging to the top of trending lists despite the members' own silence. Fans are sharing their own emotional reactions, stories of being moved to tears, of feeling inspired by the example of unwavering support, of reflecting on the rarity of such public vulnerability in an industry known for its calculated polish. In many ways, Jungkook and Taehyung's journey is about more than a concert. It is a reminder of the human connections that sustain even the most celebrated figures in global entertainment. At a time when solo pursuits could have easily pulled them in different directions, they chose to come together. Not because they had to, but because they understood what it would mean for someone they consider family. Yet the mystery lingers. Was this merely a one-off gesture, or does it foreshadow a broader chapter in BTS's ongoing story? Could their unannounced reunion in America hint at future collaborations, or was it purely personal, a silent vow that no matter how far they roam, they will always return for each other? As speculation intensifies, one thing remains certain. This singular act has reignited global fascination with BTS, not just as artists, but as individuals bound by rare and unshakable loyalty. In a world accustomed to performative friendships and transactional alliances, Jungkook and Taehyung's transcontinental pilgrimage stands out as a testament to authenticity. And so the questions multiply, demanding answers. What was said behind the scenes after the concert lights dimmed? How did Jin react in private to seeing two of his closest companions show up unannounced? And most importantly, will this moment mark the beginning of something bigger, or was it a fleeting glimpse of brotherhood in its purest form? For now, the answers remain locked away in the hearts of three young men who have spent the last decade navigating unprecedented fame together. But one thing is certain, the image of Jungkook and Taehyung traveling across continents to stand silently in the audience for Jin will endure, etched forever in the collective memory of a fandom that understands, perhaps better than anyone, the power of love, loyalty, and showing up when it matters most. Behind the headlines, is Jungkook and Taehyung's transcontinental journey for Jin truly what it seems? As the dust settles from the emotional whirlwind sparked by Jungkook and Taehyung's unexpected journey to the United States for Jin's solo concert, an unsettling question begins to take shape in the minds of even the most devoted fans. How much of what we witnessed was real, and how much was carefully constructed to captivate a global audience? Are we observing a genuine act of brotherhood, or are we unconsciously consuming a narrative designed to manipulate emotions and dominate media cycles? Millions of fans have shared their unfiltered reactions across TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and countless other platforms. Tears flowed freely as video clips of Jungkook and Taehyung's presence in the concert hall went viral. Comment sections filled with declarations of admiration for their loyalty. But amid the surge of emotional responses, few have paused to ask the essential questions. Did these events unfold precisely as reported, or are we participating in a spectacle whose core truth remains elusive? Could this be a carefully engineered scenario intended to amplify public interest in Jin's concert and reignite conversations about BTS during a time of relative dormancy for the group? There is no denying the power of such a narrative. Two of the most enigmatic figures in modern entertainment appear suddenly, traveling thousands of miles without warning, all to support a beloved elder brother. The image is irresistible. But why did so little concrete information emerge from credible primary sources? Why were the details of their journey largely pieced together from fragmented media, fan recordings, social media posts, and speculative commentary? And most importantly, why has no independent outlet been able to verify the full sequence of events with absolute certainty? If this moment were entirely organic, would there not be clearer, more consistent evidence? Instead, the timeline of their departure from South Korea and arrival in the United States remains riddled with ambiguities. Some fans claim to spot Jungkook and Taehyung at Incheon Airport, yet photos are grainy and unverified. Others insist they were seen arriving at an American airport. But again, the available footage offers little in the way of definitive proof. Is it possible that what we are seeing has been selectively presented, its gaps intentionally left to be filled by the imagination of an eager fandom? Moreover, the emotional weight of Jin's reaction, his tearful pause upon noticing Jungkook and Taehyung in the audience, has become the centerpiece of countless discussions. But here, too, critical questions emerge. Was this moment as spontaneous as it appeared? Or did Jin already know they would attend? If this was a surprise, why did the concert's production team fail to detect the arrival of two global superstars who are ordinarily surrounded by intense security and logistical preparation? Should we accept at face value the notion that two of the most recognizable figures in the world could move so discreetly, without a single credible leak from within their inner circle? This line of questioning is not meant to diminish the possibility of genuine loyalty and affection among BTS members. It is entirely plausible that Jungkook and Taehyung would go to great lengths to support Jin at such a critical moment. However, in an era where media narratives are carefully curated and often weaponized to maximize engagement, is it not our responsibility to scrutinize every detail before accepting it as fact? Could this event, presented as an emotional milestone, actually function as a calculated maneuver to sustain global interest in BTS, whose members are currently navigating the uncertainties of military service and individual projects? If so, what are the implications for how we, as consumers of information, process such stories? Are we complicit in the viral spread of potentially manufactured moments? Or are we capable of resisting the emotional pull of such narratives long enough to ask, who benefits from our belief in their authenticity? Consider also the role of the platforms that amplified this story. TikTok clips with millions of views, YouTube vlogs analyzing every gesture, Twitter threads speculating endlessly about travel timelines. All of these create a feedback loop that rewards emotional investment over factual rigor. When so much of the available evidence originates from fan communities and unverified social media content, should we not exercise greater caution before declaring these events to be historical fact? What if, instead of taking the viral clips at face value, we asked harder questions? What conversations might emerge if we acknowledge the possibility of coordinated media strategies designed to maintain emotional ties between BTS and their global fanbase during periods of physical separation? Could this realization change how we interpret moments of apparent spontaneity from public figures whose lives are, by necessity, meticulously managed? To dismiss such questions as cynical would be a mistake. In truth, they reflect a healthy skepticism that is urgently needed in the digital age. The boundary between reality and performance has grown increasingly porous, and even the most authentic-seeming moments may be imbued with layers of intentionality invisible to the casual observer. This does not mean that Jungkook and Taehyung's actions lack sincerity. Rather, it suggests that sincerity and strategy are not mutually exclusive. Both can coexist, woven seamlessly into a narrative that captivates millions. The challenge lies in recognizing that possibility and asking, what does it mean for us as audiences? When we see Jin's tears and Jungkook's steady gaze from the crowd, do we instinctively believe in the purity of the moment because we want to? Or are we capable of holding space for the discomforting notion that even deeply moving spectacles can serve ulterior purposes? These questions matter not only for understanding BTS, but for navigating an era where every headline, every viral clip, and every trending hashtag is a potential product of unseen design. To approach such stories without critical reflection is to surrender agency in shaping our own interpretations of reality. Therefore, we must ask ourselves directly, do we believe that Jungkook and Taehyung's transcontinental journey was an unscripted expression of devotion, or are we participating in a narrative carefully crafted to evoke maximum emotional resonance? Are we witnesses to an unfiltered act of brotherhood, or are we being drawn into a story whose contours have been shaped by forces beyond our view? Until more verifiable evidence emerges, the truth will remain contested. But perhaps that is precisely the point, to compel us to confront the complexity of modern celebrity culture, where moments that feel intimate and unmediated are often embedded within larger systems of media manipulation. In the end, the responsibility falls on each of us to decide, will we accept such stories uncritically, swept away by their emotional power? Or will we approach them with a discerning mind, recognizing the possibility of both truth and fabrication, sincerity and strategy, existing side by side? As the world continues to debate the meaning of Jungkook and Taehyung's journey, one question persists above all others. One that no viral clip or trending hashtag can fully answer. What do you believe?